Y'all, y'all, y'all ready for this? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Subscribers League, and this is the show fantasy football series that I'm trying to help you to compete, contend, and win your fantasy football championship. And there are so many things going on in the NFL, but I want to stop and say happy Thanksgiving from Canada. That's right, Canadian here, and very different Canadian Thanksgiving. I don't care what Thanksgiving it is, I want to celebrate it. So whether it's in Canada or in a month, it's going to be in the United States. I just want to celebrate them both, and I do watch football on both of them, but most Canadians don't watch football as their tradition for Thanksgiving, but we definitely do the big turkey dinner and stuffing and gravy and all the fixings. And I had apple pie, I've had cherry pie, I've had cherry cheesecake. I mean, we go all out. We have great time with family, and we get blessed because as NFL fans, we can watch some football. But in Canada, everyone's gearing up for the NHL that just kicked off the next day, which is the Tuesday. This is which I am recording this on. And so I just want to quickly talk about some fantasy stuff that's going to be relevant. A couple of things I've noticed. One thing that I've made a mistake on this year is when you're in too many leagues, you get kind of overwhelmed and you don't always pay attention. There's lots of notifications coming up, guys that are hurt or not playing. You got to make sure you're starting your not starting your injured players, moving those IR guys into the bench spots or the spots so you can pick up another guy. One of the things where I've failed this year is I'm not picking up enough backups. For example, Hubbard should have been on my roster. Just because you just never know. Damian Williams should have already been on my roster. Darnell Williams should have been on my roster. Like different things like that. Madison is making a huge difference, and these are things that you need to pay attention to as a fantasy owner, which I have been too busy making videos and too busy doing in too many leagues. So let's just quickly talk about the NFL from this week 5. I apologize for not having a video out to recap Subscribers League for week 4 and week 4. So I'm going to do week 4 and 5 at the end of this video. But let's just start off with Thursday Night Football. Rams, Seahawks. Everyone's excited. The Seahawks are in that lime green uniforms and big matchup, divisional matchup, and Russell Wilson breaks his finger, needs surgery. He's going to be out for weeks. This is terrible news. Is Seattle going to make the playoffs? Probably not now, especially in that division. But what we've learned is that Metcalf doesn't need Russell Wilson to continue to produce fantasy-wise. Maybe some of the other ones do. They were also missing Chris Carson, and I'm very concerned about his status going forward as well. On the Rams side of the ball, there was Robert Woods sighting. Finally, he shows up. Cooper Kupp has been a monster this year. Henderson has been the guy that I've been saying that I try to get him in every draft. Round 6 or 7 or even round 5 I would have taken him, but man, he looks solid. He's just a solid player. He's either your number 2 or a flex spot. If we talk about the Bears destroying the Raiders, like that was a significant win for them. John Gruden resigns as the head coach, which is shocking news, and terrible things are coming up about why he did that. Man, that is a mess there. I don't know for fantasy value if you want to be going with anything with the Raiders right now. Damian Williams, here's a side note. The backup to Montgomery got injured. Damian Williams had 16 carries for 64 yards and he got the touchdown. But Herbert, supposed to be the third stringer, now second stringer, got 18 carries for 75 yards. So that's something to think about and maybe have some fab on Herbert if he's still available in your leagues, just in case. Also, the Cowboys own the Giants, which is not surprising because Dak is spreading the ball all over the place. I don't really know if it's going to go into Schultz or Lamb or Cooper or, Cedric Wilson or Pollard or Zeke. But he's playing really well. The team looks really good. But the big surprise in this game was Daniel Jones was terrible. He's been incredible for the first 4 weeks. And then Barkley goes down with an injury, and that's significant. So you'll be wanting to pick his backup Booker again. If you would have just picked him up last week, it cost you 0 fab. But anyways, how do you know, right? There's also in the AFC a new favorite in town, and that is the Buffalo Bills. Yeehaw! We got the Buffalo Bills destroying the Chiefs 38-20. Everyone's shocked at this score. Josh Allen's finally woken up and become the quarterback that everyone drafted him so high to be. Now, what's happening with Patrick Mahomes? He does not look good this year. He goes an average week, and then the next week goes 5 touchdowns, and then he gets a really another average week. Is this the Patrick Mahomes we're seeing going forward? This is what the trend's looking like. If you're a Patrick Mahomes owner, you might want to consider trying to trade him. He's still the number one quarterback in the NFL fantasy-wise, and so that might be something you want to do because there's a lot of incredible quarterbacks out there right now. And then CEH is injured. That's major news. I don't know how long. It doesn't look like it's going to be a little bit of time there. And then there's also a huge game that happened, Cleveland and the Chargers. This was definitely a top 3 game of the week. Chubb and Hunt continue to be those 2 running backs that are averaging about 20 points a week. You want to start both of them. If you have them both, start them both. Start one in the flex or both spots. They literally have double value. It's absolutely nuts what's going on there. But they played the Chargers. What an amazing game. You know what? The Chargers are for real. Like, you need to listen to this right now. I remember having Peter Day on, Deep Dive with Peter Day. He was telling us that Herbert's going to go off, and he was right. He is unbelievable right now, and that he is just adding value to people that you didn't think were going to have value. So it's just incredible. So, and then I want to talk to you about the Packers and Bengals. Of course, my second favorite game of the weekend. Well, kind of my favorite, to be honest. What a crazy game. 5 missed field goals and 2 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in the game. It goes into overtime. Crosby hits the winner. It was absolutely amazing. Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon are now both having fantasy value. Not as good as Chubb and Hunt, of course. But if you think about Dillon and Jones, they're reminding me of Zeke and Pollard in value. Okay, so here's the thing about the Packers game, a side note, okay? Packers were missing Zadarius Smith, Jair Alexander, MVS, Elton Jenkins, David Bakhtiari, no Josh Myers, and then they missed 4 kicks and still beat the 3-1 Bengals on the road, like in the jungle. What a game. That was nuts. Apparently, people even double teaming Devontae Adams or don't double team Devontae Adams. Don't understand that. Did you know that A.J. Dillon had the second most catches on the team for that week? 4 catches, was the second best wide receiver on the team. Wow, that's crazy, hey? So let's go to the game of the week. Ravens-Colts, Monday Night Football. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens look terrible in the first half. Jonathan Taylor finally shows up and shows his first round value, has a huge run for a touchdown. And the Colts defense looks good like they did last year. And then all of a sudden you see there and go, oh my goodness. The Colts couldn't stop Lamar Jackson. he had a monster week. And then all of a sudden, Mark Andrews had another monster week. No, not another. First monster week. He had not been good all season. Marquise Hollywood Brown, he had another monster week. He looks like a legitimate top 10 wide receiver going forward. So that's something to be taken into consideration. If you can get him right now, I just traded him away for Cooper Kupp, but still happy with that deal because I think Cooper Kupp's going to be better all year long. So here's a question. It kind of seems like it's a bit of a quarterback league right now. And so who would you like going forward in these names? Tom Brady, who's having a monster year, an absolute monster year. Lamar Jackson, as we talked about, Josh Allen, or Justin Herbert. That's the thing. You notice I didn't talk about Mahomes. I'm not talking about these other quarterbacks that's supposed to be up there, because these are the guys that are taking leaps and steps forward. Kyle Murray could be up there, but he had a terrible week again this week against the 49ers. So it's a massive battle. If you have one of these quarterbacks, you should be happy, but it's interesting. Also, side note real quick, top 5 wide receivers in receiving, not touchdowns, but in receiving. Number 1, no surprise, Devontae Adams. Number 2 is the surprise, and it's Deebo Samuel off of the 49ers. That's insane after 5 weeks. This is now a trend. It's not just a fluke, okay? Number 3 is Cooper Kupp. He was good 2 years ago, so it doesn't overly surprise me. But number 4 is Tyreek Hill. And number 5 is Mike Williams off the Chargers. I was in leagues that nobody even drafted him. And so he's a massive, massive steal. And that is kind of my big take. And I'm going to go switch over now to the recaps real quick. All right, everyone, we're going to dive into Subscribers Leagues, recapping week 4 real quick and going into week 5 and then hitting the standings. So week 4, I was faced against B-Pack, and Billy and I are huge Packer fans going head to head, and he comes out with the victory 120-94, destroyed me. Congratulations, Billy. Well done. Just quickly go into that matchup for a second. Daniel Jones. Okay, think about this. He started Daniel Jones and Trevor Lawrence, and I started Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford. Now, I should win that matchup, right? Well, Tom Brady had 11 fantasy points, so my quarterback stunk and his did not, and so he did awesome. I've got to go back to week 4, sorry. And then Hammers 108 beat fantasy football team, Brian's team, 96-108. VI Raiders with a big week, 119 points, beating underdogs by 119-93. And then Playoff Bound, which is Peter Day, 130, most points of the week, beats the worst team in the league. Like, come on, Vexa, you finally had a good week, taking over the team, making it, rebuilding it, getting it competitive, and you face the toughest team in the league. So Vexa stays with no wins yet, but crazy. And then the battery, high floor fantasy beats Derek's Mr. Rogers Neighborhood 119-108. That was impressive. So that was week 4. We dive into week 5 though, and I pull off the big matchup, me versus Peter. Okay, now just remember, you can tweet him out here. You can just let him know that I beat him. Now, in all honesty, we had monster weeks: 148, 135. Week 5 was nuts for the amount of points that were going up. And I only beat him because he didn't start Dalvin Cook. Now, he said, it was last minute. It was a game time decision. And he didn't. I got the notification just after 9 o'clock. So he had almost an hour to make that change. And I think he's got the same problem. I've got too many leagues, too many notifications coming in. So then in a close matchup, B-Pack wins again. And 115 and beats Brian's fantasy football team 113. Like 2 points, less than 2, just over 2 points. That is how close that matchup was. And then we got Stuart Dixon's VI Raiders with the biggest point total of the week, 162, beating Mark's BWG Hammer's team 128. Wow, Stuart, well done, bro. Well done. Let's just quickly go into there. Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Well, Lamar Jackson, there you go. That's why you won that. So really, that was the difference maker. But Hammer, your team looked good too. Derrick Henry, Metcalf, Hopkins, Prescott, Tannehill's where you probably lost it or there. But okay, back to Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, 134, destroying Vexa. Vexa did not have a good week 5, only 85 points there, so Vexa cannot get a win. And so we're cheering for you, man, but it is what it is. We've got some competitive guys in here. And then the battery, 116, 102. Just to stop and just let you know, Chad, who is the battery, and he's the high floor fantasy guy. You guys got to check out his YouTube channel. I want to give a shout out to him. He's got 11 videos up. He's had a podcast that's been running for a while. Glad to have him in the league, but here he is winning against Steve's underdogs, 116, 102, and well done. So if you look at the standings real quick here, Stewart's VI Raiders 5-0. Are you kidding me right now? 5-0? I've never seen Stewart be 5-0 in a league, so well done, buddy. He's got 658 points for and only 520 points against. So the battery, B-Pack, coming in 2 and 3 at 4 and 1. I'm the highest of the 3 and 2s with Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, Peter's playoff bound. Mark's BWG is at 2 and 3. Underdogs only at 1 and 4, and there's 2 teams, fantasy football team and Vex's team, that are 0 and 5, and so that's a tough hole to dig themselves out of. But they only need a win or 2 to get back into it. So I hope that you've really enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit longer than normal. Hope you enjoyed the fantasy value at the beginning and talking about the league. And glad to have you in there. Just a reminder as we talk about this league, not only those guys 0 and 5, but the Underdogs is on a 3-game losing streak. B-Pack's on a 4-game winning streak. The Battery's on a 3-game winning streak. And of course, VI Raiders hasn't lost yet this season. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and looking forward to next week's battles. It's going to be a great one.
Y'all ready for this?